All right, welcome back to another vlog. I know I haven't been on in a while. I've actually been a little bit busy. I know I kind of said in one of my previous vlogs that I was going to start putting more content on YouTube. I've been busy over the winter, coming into spring, mostly dealing with my health, my overall health, trying to get fit again, and then, mental health and whatnot, trying not to go on social media as much, and just kind of been working on me mostly. And especially with the state of the music world right now, it's been kind of depressing with everything that's been going on, that I've been kind of staying away from a lot. I watch a lot of YouTube and I watch a lot of videos and stuff, and kind of seeing everything going on, especially in the music news. A lot of tours are getting canceled right now, which is it's concerning. But with the financial state of everything, I'm kind of not surprised. From everything from like trying to even book tour buses now that the pandemic was over, everybody's out trying to tour, and then like everybody's trying to tour at once, and like the tour buses are like prime right now, like try to get one. And then also just the cost of traveling is becoming so much more expensive. And even for us in like Siren, for example, for us to try to go out and to do shows and do a tour and whatnot, we have to be able to financially break even. And from what we're understanding, it's going to be even hard to do that. Even talking with other musicians and other bands and whatnot, and even I just had a conversation with someone today, and bands are losing money trying to tour right now. So it's not really the best for bands right now in a financial position to even try to tour. Everybody has good intentions, put new music out there, everybody's putting out new albums, but just to be financially able to bring the music, right? And there's nothing better than live music as well, right? So I think I bet you in the next year, I think more bands are going to stay more towards their home countries for the most part and not tour as much like abroad. Even for us, trying to book even a Canadian tour is getting really expensive, right? We're trying to put some stuff together, so I actually don't even think there's going to be much happening this year. Honestly, we're kind of, for Siren, we're kind of gearing up to write the next album anyway. There is some other changes that are going to be happening that I can't mention yet, but you're going to see some stuff happening soon, with Siren, in that regard anyway. But as well, musically for me, I've been a little frustrated for the last little while. I haven't done a great deal musically. Like I said, I've been working on my health, so I've kind of taken a little bit of a step back, but I still practice kind of a lot. And I just found with the state of everything, in the last bit, it's kind of gotten me down. Kind of, especially this past winter, I wasn't playing guitar as much as I normally would. I'd still try to stick to my early Saturday, Sunday morning kind of like 3 to 4 hour sessions, which I couldn't always do, unfortunately. But I try, whatnot. But also just trying to find what I wanted to practice and what I wanted to work towards. Just because like the uncertainty, especially during the pandemic, there was like, especially in 2020 when everything shut down, there was points where like I wasn't even sure if there was going to be live music again, right? And that was like such a downer that I didn't, practice, put a lot of effort, was working, concentrating on other stuff, family, work, like my day job and whatnot. But as I'm getting older now too, I kind of want to accomplish things before I get too old. So, but I want to keep playing music. So in the last little bit, I've been kind of concentrating on learning other stuff than just metal. So I'd actually fallen a bit in love with jazz in the last bit, with smooth jazz actually. So I've actually starting to venture a little bit. I actually learned some jazz back when I was in high school. I had a really good guitar teacher back then, in high school, and he actually taught me a bit of the basics of jazz. And of course, with jazz, there's a lot of theory involved, and there's a lot of movement and guitar movement. And I had actually started following Paul Jackson Jr. I love his name, and started following him. I heard one of his songs. We were out for a holiday, and they had left it on the Smooth Jazz channel when we walked into our cabin, and they actually had, not right away, but I remember we left it on, and one of his songs came on, and I was like, oh, this sounds great. I loved the guitar work. and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start investigating this a little more. So I've been listening a lot more smooth jazz and really liking the guitar because especially it follows a lot of chord progressions and whatnot, and there's a lot of other modes and a lot of theory involved. So I've been kind of getting a little bit more involved in it. So that's kind of I'm thinking, as I'm getting up in age, kind of once I hit my plan is once I've hit after 50, I kind of want to get more into that jazz world. But for now, I still want to go straight ahead metal. So I've been kind of working, especially everybody knows I love Dimebag Daryl. So I've been kind of really working on a lot of Dimebag stuff lately, from riffs and licks, solos, working a lot of his styles. So I'm kind of hoping I can put together something more Pantera-esque in a band. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I've spoken with my Castigate brothers to see if we could probably put something together. Definitely we need a vocalist for that. So we're kind of been chatting a bit about that, kind of trying to lean towards that more. Do something very, whether it's a tribute or doing Pantera covers or even write original songs more in that style. And what's interesting here in Calgary, I remember Vinnie Paul actually compared Calgary to the Canadian Dallas at one time, right? Because there is a bit of that Western flair that we have here in all of Canada, is mostly here at Calgary, right? Like we have the Stampede every year, and we got the Cowboys outside, farming and whatnot. So I'm like, kind of like, hey, kind of would make sense if we could do something a little bit more Pantera-esque here. So maybe not a full-on tribute, maybe an homage to Pantera. We'll see what we can do, but I'm kind of really leaning in that because nobody can be Dimebag Daryl. Nobody. As much as you can try to copy his licks, nobody will ever be exactly like Dimebag. He was definitely an original, but to pay homage as much as I could is something I'd really like to do. So that is something I'm kind of been leaning towards the next little while. Other than Siren, I want to kind of do that as well. But also, I'd mentioned in previous videos a bit of frustration in guitars. So, like, I love guitars. My babies, like my USA Jacksons. I love these guitars, but I don't really take them out of the house often just because they become so valuable. And of course, playing metal, a lot of different tunings. You need a bunch of different guitars. So I had actually, picked up these Ibanez, premium guitars in the last little bit, and they're okay, but they're still not great, right? I've been messing around with the pickups, trying to get more of the sound I like, but I've definitely found in the last little bit that the tone I really prefer more is like active pickups for the most part. Like my Jacksons, like both of my Flying V's have blackouts. And I've had EMGs before. I just prefer the blackouts when I've compared them. But but following brands, I haven't been happy with what Jackson's been doing the last while. Maybe because of the pandemic's caused a lot of stuff. I don't know. And I've been wanting a really good workhorse utility guitar where it's metal, has a Floyd Rose, has a lot of modern features to it. So, but I've looked at other than Jackson now. Ibanez, I was really hoping with it, especially NAMM was last weekend. I was really hoping that something new would come out from Ibanez, and all they seemed to really put out was new signature models. I don't know why. And I know they did drop some new stuff at the beginning of the year, but there's nothing really that's kind of like, like I wish they had a new S series model that I really dig myself into. But I gone to Guitar Works recently and I tried out a premium S model. I just wasn't impressed with it. Like these guys, like the biggest thing I have playability. Like I love the Wizard necks, but they've got like medium frets on them, and I prefer extra jumbo, for example. And also like these Floyds don't stay in tune the best, right? They're not even Floyd Rose. They're like the Ibanez Edge trims, and I just they don't stay in tune as good as this guy, right? Like especially my three USA Jacksons, like I can go crazy dive bombs on these guitars and they stay in tune really well, and I need that, especially if I'm going to do any kind of Dimebag Daryl stuff. You got to play a lot of whammy, especially natural harmonics with dive bombs. I throw a lot of that in my style already, so I really needed a good utility guitar. So I've actually ordered something, and it's not a Jackson and it's not an Ibanez. If you followed maybe some of my social media posts, maybe you've kind of gotten a hint of what I've ordered, but I've pre-ordered something. Hopefully it'll come, I hope in the next few months. just because it's a brand new 2023 model that just got released at NAMM. I don't know if it'll be in right away, so it might take a little while. But once that comes in, I'm hoping to really use that. I don't know if I'll use it in Siren or with what I'm planning on doing with Castigate guys, some stuff, but it's something more. I wanted something more of a standard S kind of like Strat, Super Strat. I think this one I'd call an Extreme Strat. I don't know, kind of style that I could really sit down, practice a lot, and it's just something really looks what I feel would be more to me. Because as a guitar player, we're always trying to find the right look, feel, and sound, right? And I love my Jacksons, but the Flying V, I just don't feel it's kind of my guitar, right? Like Dimebag, everybody knew that the ML became his kind of guitar, and then like Andreas Kisser had like his Rhodes V's, or even like some of the other guitar players that have kind of like even now Jeff Loomis has kind of made Kelly the Jackson Kelly his kind of guitar, although he does have a soloist as well for 7-string. So everybody's kind of got their preference, and I've always been the kind of guy to kind of search for the perfect axe for me. And I've kind of haven't found it yet, even though I've owned a lot of guitars over the years, but I've kind of still searching for that. And I've kind of nailed it down to what I think it would be. I know my preferences, but then variety is also the spice of life. That's why I kind of enjoyed having a few different guitars to use for different moods, different kind of feels, different tunings, right? That's the biggest thing. My gripe right now is that stuff I want to learn, there's so many different tunings, from standard, drop D, D standard, drop C, and then you get Dimebag and Pantera stuff, Machine Head stuff, which have this messed up tuning where it's like standard tuning, but 40 cents flat or some crazy thing. So then especially with a Floyd Rose, trying to tune this stuff is an absolute pain. So, but as I move forward, I'm trying to mess around with finding that right tuning that I want to be, especially writing original music, right? That I haven't really been all that inspired to write lately, which has been kind of a downer. I haven't really been inspired to write a lot of original. I sit down, I try to write riffs, and nothing's coming out recently. So I've kind of concentrated more on just practicing, working on everything from like sweep arpeggios to my alternate picking technique to get more of my legato thing going down. I always felt like legato was more my strength. And because I've kind of concentrated so much on sweep picking and alternate picking in the last while, I feel like my legato has kind of not been as strong. So I've kind of getting back to, full package of all the lead playing. But in the next bit, I hope that get another level in my playing. And of course, I've got a couple of like etudes that I'm working on. One I really want to do for a YouTube video. Maybe once the new axe shows up, I'll do that. Maybe that'd be really cool. But yeah, either way, I'm gonna maybe do some content here and there. This I just wanted to do a quick one today. Single take, no editing. Boom. This is just a off the cuff kind of a video. So, but anyway, until next time, stay metal, shred on, take care.